Game number 1 kicks off Spear Gaming versus TALON as we start off day number 2 of Stage 2 of 2022 competitive year of Rainbow Six Esports. We're back. I'm Most Medic. This is Fresh and Fabian, and we're going to talk about these two squads and what they have to offer. Starting off with TALON. Fabian, what do you think?
Well, TALON have made some interesting changes, obviously. They picked up 2 new players, and they're going to fill hard support and entry-fragging roles. They've taken them from a bit lower-ended teams in Korea, which open up some questions, but they did really well. Both Misa and Marble kind of showed up on game day, but there are still question marks to be had. I think that they maybe had a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction because they played so good last stage, and they kind of covered up for it this one as well. So it's an exciting team to see play, and I'm actually kind of impressed by both Marble and Misa showing up for the game day because they did show up more than what we're used to seeing.
Hedy and Devitt came into this roster in Stage 3, and at the time I thought they were questionable changes. They turned out to be good long-term. I was a bit upset to see Aziz and Canos be taken out of this roster, but as you say, TALON do have a good eye, and this is basically a new roster from Stage 2 last year now, if you look at it. 4 new players, but they do have a good eye for improving their team through roster changes.
Then what about the other side with Spear Gaming and what they can offer for this matchup? Because last week, they got close to going to OT.
They did, and I don't think a lot of people really... I think a lot of people write them off, particularly, you know, given that they did lose Arakazi in the off-season. Obviously, they've made some roster changes. They've been kind of decimated, and also 11's not playing again, as you can see in that lineup. NL will stand in. And it's a team where they are always there for an upset, and I've been saying this about this roster for so long now. And they started playing their part, particularly in Stage 1, causing more and more upsets. But let's not paint too pretty of a picture, because they have lost their best player in the off-season. They are regrouping as a roster and trying to find a way of playing, albeit a good performance in Playday 1.
Yeah, we were always talking about Mephi showing up, and we were talking about 11 showing up, and we were talking about Arakazi. Those were the 3 key players. I mean, 11 isn't even playing. Arakazi is out of the roster. Mephi was performing, but the 2 new players have both been subs. So I think it was Royboy from Down One that is the sub for that, or used to be the sub for them, and then Sayonara used to be the sub for TALON. That's the one. I'm almost losing my head here. And picking up subs is kind of like a emergency button press, I feel like. Emergency meeting in Among Us. You don't really know what's going on, but you have to do something. So
just kick somebody out.
Yeah, you just have to vote someone out, and this time they got voted in instead. We'll see how it goes long term. Short term, it's scary for me.
All right, then I want to take a look at potentially what map we're going to have for this series, because we feel that it's going to be an important part of this matchup. As always, we go to Villa here. TALON will have the last say. Remove Clubhouse, a classic one. A lot of people will say if you can't play Clubhouse, you probably shouldn't be competing, but here we are. And they start off on the attack for Villa. Spear has chosen the usually more favorable defense. Your thoughts, Jack?
They've always liked this map, and I think back to iterations of past rosters with, you know, PJH doing the C4 out of Master Window. They have a lot of fun on this map because it's a big map. It allows for creativity. It allows for vertical play. And one of the things about Villa is for every bomb site, there are 2 or 3 ways of defending it. For every bomb site, there are 2 or 3 ways of attacking it. So it allows you to express yourselves, and that's what Spear need to use to their advantage, is not being predictable, not doing the same thing every single time.
And I think this is the individual talent that TALON possesses will give them the edge against Spear. Even if they're equally on the strat side, I still think it leans towards TALON for me.
Yeah.
I just think that they have the edge. It's simple as that. Simple as they say in the UK.
As they say in the UK, indeed. But then if you're looking at this, how can Spear, what can they use, just looking back their first day, to use and abuse and maybe take down TALON a notch?
You want to know something that's really fun with Villa? It's playing Nuke. Nuke is one of those operators that...
You've been playing too much ranked.
When I played comp, we used to...
You're one to say. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but the reason I say that is because in ranked, all people do is take Nook and crouch walk up red stairs on.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but you can crouch walk more places than red stairs. I think that Nuke can be very useful in an entry-fragging role. For example, when you're clearing master bedroom and you go for a take on plane, that you come up Astra stairs with Nuke, because usually people sit on the cameras, right, to cover clock, which is underneath. And if they can't see you, then, well, you can do so much damage to the people defending over on Astra side and Statue side.
As much as I did joke, Villa's a massive map, and defenders don't tend to rely on things like Melusi or Barbed Wire like they do in other maps to get a sound cue. They tend to rely on information, Maestro cams, the default cams. And obviously Nook is a complete direct counter to that up the staircases, up the long corridors. There's so much space on Villa, you can't physically hold it with utility. And I think that's why you're saying Nook is a great operated space.
It's one of those things, it's just like when you're playing in a competitive team, we have complete idea of where all default cameras are, right? You know every single camera. And having a camera alive gives just as much information as it being actually shot out.
True.
Because if you see, oh, camera in basement is being shot out.
There's somebody in basement.
There's someone in basement. Who would have thought? But with Nick, you can see that camera, and she just walks by it, and she knows you haven't seen her. They will call, well, clock is clear. But there's actually a Nook and clock coming up behind you.
So maybe we'll get to see the Nook in play here. Reminder, these two last time they played, at least in the old version of Spear Gaming, which was T1 in the day, that was in the Korean Open. But that was in April. So it's been a couple months since then, almost exactly 2 months. So a lot still left to explore, of course, with the new changes. So ready for the game we are. Thank you very much, Jack and Fabian. Let's toss it to our casters. It's Ace and Daz. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milosh. Welcome to game one of the day. Spear coming up against Talon, Tim. I won't lie, I came in today doing predictions and I was like, is there a chance? Because I actually thought Spear, for their first entry with a couple of changes coming in, didn't play terribly last week.
Well, what I'd say is, I don't think this is so much about Spear as it is about Talon. Talon have shown that they can be a good team. I think there's a lot more to come from them, but consistency is something they need to address. And I think that, you know, a lot of the time I come into games and I'm like, yes, Talon, come on. You know, I've been doing this for a couple of stages. I've been like, right, this is it. Come on, Talon. And it just never seems to like pan out long term for them. So hopefully we're going to see a little bit more stability, a little bit more consistency from them. It needs to start with games like this. This is a game that Talon should win.
Those two players you've just seen in chat, Misa and Marble, there were a lot of questions last week. Are they going to step up? Are they enough? Because they came from the lower regions, lower tiers in the Korean region. And many said, oh, well, the team you want to go for if you're going to get any Korean players on board is Team GP. But those players all said, nope, we're sticking together by the sounds of things. They want to make a run for APAC North as a unit. So there were a few question marks around those two boys. But last week for me, they were in probably our top 5 to 10 players that we saw in the Playday last week. So lots to look forward to today and hope they put on a show, but they do come up against players like Mephi for Spear, who have been an absolute demon, not just last stage, but also last week. Bans are flying through. Thatcher, pretty atypical, Tim. Haven't got to talk about that one too much, but that Flores, we speak about this an awful lot, especially on this map. Shields being set up on maps table in AVG, getting rid of Banshees, ADSs, you name it. Flores, really, really powerful, so not surprised to see it taken away. And that Azami ban, Tim, it's not going to be the first or the last time we see it banned away today.
No, absolutely not. And to be honest,
well, just the last, because it is the first.
It sort of makes sense. It sort of makes sense.
You know, when you say something and take 2 seconds to go, hang on a second.
I think your point there was a little bit broader than just today, Des. You know,
it's not the first this stage.
It's not the first this stage. It won't be the last this stage. I think, you know, the Azami ban leans perfectly into the Flores ban. If you're going to get rid of the Roteros, you've already said shields on maps, things like that start becoming an issue. What do you not want? 3, 4 additional shields all playing in around maps, making it difficult. Those safe spaces that Azami can create. So no surprise to see that go along with the Flores.
Can we break the fourth wall for a second? Do you ever
Always.
feel like we've got a small audience? Because Fresh never leaves the studio when we're casting. So it's almost like we've always got like a one-man audience just watching us two idiots scream and shout about a video game for a while.
He loves it. He just loves to absorb the passion that's in the studio. That's what it
He
is.
can't escape you in rank, mate, and he can't escape you in the studio either. Just
He wouldn't.
he's trying to take you away from me. This is the problem.
Is that what it is?
Definitely. He's just confirmed to me. He's nodded.
You're getting
He pointed at you and done the heart sign as well.
You're getting envious of the ranked duo here. Is that what it is?
Mate, I need one at this point in my ranked games. I had one game last night. It went terribly, and I was like, I'm not playing anymore. 0 and 4. Just one of those. I was just like, nah, I can't play Siege
Fresh
tonight.
and I just play for vibes. You've just got to get in. We're always having a good time, win or lose. Not the same that can be said for these two teams, of course, as winning.
There's more than just vibes at stake here,
There's more
Tim.
than vibes at stake here. Winning and losing means a little bit more between these two. We're going to get right into things. We're in the action phase of round number 1. It's going to be Aviator Games as the first defence for Spear Gaming. Just having a look, they don't really have a presence underneath. It's allowing Marble to start already softening up from down there with those nades. We're going to see one going to clear out the barbed wire, another utility on the stairs. They do have a player here. Who is it? We've got NL, who's going to be locked in Spear Gaming here, just wanting to hold on to main stairs, but he's going to come under immediate pressure, I think, from Talon.
Absolutely, and I do want to touch on last week how well Talon played. All players getting more than 10 kills. It was a real slobber knocker for them and a real shining performance from every single player. So it's hard to look at any single one and go, this could be a shaky day for them. Absolutely not. And they're starting it off in style. Sure, INL gets one, but Marble gets the trade. Straight away traded back out. So actually it's a 1-for-1. Shotgun versus non-shotgun. That's an interesting one. But ultimately, it's still 2 kills going the way of Spear in the battle for main stairs.
Spear managed to take down Soldier as well, so they had themselves the briefest of advantages in a 4v3, but that is going to be levelled out as we see Roy Boy going alongside NL. So 3v3, and we've got now Spear Gaming going to have to pretty much hold on to site. Crazy Boy just keeping an eye on that vertical angle, seeing if he can do anything onto the main stairs, but the pressure is likely to start mounting onto 90 corridor as well. We've got one on the window. There is the spot onto the man at the top of red stairs. Mephi needs to be careful now. Of course, he may well find himself being pushed, but also the Aruni laser gate has just been cleared out. So Spear at the minute, they are looking happy to hold their angles as they stand. They're just going to wait. There's nothing more that they can really do at this point. They've only got 3 men left. They can't be sending anybody out on a heavy roam or anything to try and pick somebody up. They just need to wait and see what Talon do.
Here at this point, it's quite distant playing as well, right? A lot of their focus has been up towards this top side, minus Crazy Boy, who's actually sat around site itself. And now Mephi's poured himself back in from top red, probably aware that given there's drones coming in, the Iana Gemini has been seen. That's the communication from the side of Talon of, hey, this is where our attack is coming from. But it feels for that last 60 seconds or so, Tim, after that battle for main stairs, everything has sort of calmed down and Talon have took their foot off the gas, which means we're into that last 25 seconds. They've really got to get a shift on now.
And they start to do that as Demic manages to find the nade kill onto Crazy Boy. That's likely coming from underneath, and that leaves us now in a 3v2. Mephi, Sierra both really pushed back deep into site here. Sierra's going to be the first one to go. It's all up to Mephi from inside a vault. It's Misa who picks up the first. The immediate trade comes in. That's a 2. But Talon time it well. Demic is coming in from the other side, and they put Mephi in a no-win situation in the vault there. Good round from Talon, but as you said, there's improvements to be made. A little bit halting there. They just sort of ran out of ideas around the 2-minute mark.
For me, it was when I saw Mephi was the last man left alive, I was like, oh boy. This is just one of those where you know it could very easily go his way. And almost Talon let it slip. But no, the final kill coming out of Demic does leave just that 1 man left alive at the end. So a close round overall. That minute stall out in the mid part of the round where there was a lot of droning. Iana was using the Gemini to get rid of laser gates, for example. They were just priming themselves for that final push. And Spear really boxed themselves inside a vault. And that ultimately was the punishing point for them. Up we go towards Trophy and Statuary. This time around, I think Talon will probably try and find themselves going in through Master Bedroom here, keep it nice and short to sight. They saw last time round, even coming through Study, they had a lot of work still to do. I think if they try and go for a full south side push, knowing it's likely, you might see a member or two of Spear Gaming holding inside of Aviator. That's just going to run the clock down even further and punish you more and more as you get towards that execute.
An interesting bulletproof camera in the corner of Master Bedroom there. Medics already knows where I'm going, and it's really sort of tucked away in the corner. It's one that could easily be missed. And the thing is, once you've got yourself, basically the point I'm trying to make here is Talon need to spot that out and deal with it early. It's easily dealt with from the window of Master. You could get there with a nade, gone 6, take it down. But if they don't notice it, if they don't spot it out, if the drone work isn't thorough enough, they could find themselves established inside a Master with that camera behind them. That then becomes a risk because they have to turn around to deal with it. And when they turn around, they could find themselves being challenged and beaten. So they need to be careful to make sure that they deal with that early. Now then, Roy Boy playing underneath on the pulse. He's got a little bit of support as well, so they can stay on that heartbeat scanner. He's just providing any info. Players coming in to Master. He's going to take a little bit of damage under the door from a nade there. He's going to know, therefore, that somebody's looking to push into Laundry. He's going to be needing to use that teammate that's with him for them to back him up.
The one potential problem they've got here is they're so focused on Demic and his pressure coming in through Laundry that Soldier, who's playing on the Nook, who can, of course, slip his way past all that information, could be a real big factor here. I thought maybe he'd work his way into the basement and try and maybe come up backstairs, but at this point he's starting himself on the south side push with two other members of Talon. You got Marble, Demic off towards the right. You also got Heady up on the roof, actually, so all 4 players are going for a full south side push. Just Demic looking to waste a bit of time pushing in around Laundry itself, whilst the rest of the team play catch up.
Talon,
that nade!
I was going to say they look like they've largely given up on that bottom floor push, but Demic, the one and only that was left down there, gets a beautiful kill onto the pulse, and now they don't really need to worry about that bottom floor. That was my concern when I thought that Talon were heading away, getting themselves into 90, getting into Aviator games. I thought you're going to find yourself yourself in trouble here, because you're going to have Nitros coming down from underneath. Soldier not only takes the shield, he takes down NL as well, and that leaves us now in a 5v3 for Talon.
I love what we've seen out of Demic, by the way. I know we saw him first in 2020, back when he was on Scars, and that roster was a little bit rough. They finished last a couple of times. Things never really kind of came together for them, but Demic had a good couple of games back then. Shaky games, but good games overall. The first 2 games we've seen so far this stage, I know I've only seen 2 rounds, but he has been lightning. Looking really reformed, maybe as a result of having a good team around him. He's already onto a 2K in the round. Steps in now, gets juiced back up by the Finker. It's a 5 versus 1. I just love how Talon, literally like Talons, are kind of diving in, just grabbing one player, ripping them out, and then getting back to safety, then going in for another, and pulling back and doing the same again and again. Spear Gaming just unable to find anything against the attackers so far.
And that's a big problem on Villa. We'd expect at least one of those 2 sites to be getting picked up, Aviator Games or Trophy, by the defenders. And right now, Talon have put Spear massively on the back foot by taking both of them. So much so that Spear, they don't feel like they were close to either of those sites, I don't think. They're going to head down to Dining and Kitchen rather than going back to Aviator Games, for example. They're going to mix it up, go to that 3rd choice site, get downstairs. They're going to need to keep hold of top floor as well. I don't know. Yes, we've got the sledge on side. Demic's brought that along. He's shown the power that he can bring with those nades as well. So great operator for him. He's going to want to get established above, open up the vertical angles. So Spear, they've tried to play in that last round on 2 levels. It really didn't work out for them. They need to have a better performance on that roam. This is Villa. It's a huge map. It's a roamer's paradise. And right now, Spear aren't using that.
The thing is, I honestly think a lot of that is just down to how Talon are attacking. I reference how they're kind of like Talons themselves, just kind of, well, not Talons, birds with Talons, coming in, taking a player, ripping them out of the map, and that's that. The thing is, it wasn't down to like phenomenal team play they were getting those kills. They were 2 well-placed nades, marching through and finding one. Sure, Demic almost got taken down, but juiced up again by the Finker. It's not coming down to superior team play. It's just coming down to composed 1v1s. They're doing the drone work. They're doing the homework, Tim, then going in for the 1v1s, full of confidence that they know what the state of play is and winning as a result. And I think even on a own game, you're still going to find you're going to struggle against that kind of play.
Got the Thorn just deploying those Razor Blooms around the site. Not sure about the placement. I often talk about the Razor Blooms, and they're not really there as entry denial. They can be used as intel, and that may well be part of the point there. If they get a trigger of a Razor Bloom being detonated, they know that somebody's maybe trying to advance into sight. But often, they're much more useful as an area denial, where a player's going to want to stand still for a little bit, whether it wants to be to hold an angle, whether it wants to be to put the diffuser down, anything that is going to create a situation whereby they're not sort of moving can be a little bit more dangerous for the Razor Blooms, because on the entry, players tend to move past them very quickly. So, to be honest, they ignore them a little bit because they're not going to get stung by them, because by the time they detonate, they are long gone. But as I say, in the same way that goo mines are used, they can be used for intel as well. The problem with that, Des, is that timer again on them. It's almost too late. By the time you hear it trigger and go, you've got somebody up in your face.
This time round, Soldier not playing on the Nook is doing much the same, though. It's charged for, got rid of the shield. Fortunately for the side of Spear, no one was actually behind the shield, so wasn't coming to face their death just a few seconds later. But that pressure is building up as Talon have got a full-on surround. 2 players coming in through Master, 2 from the south. Demic finding the entry onto Sayora. That's 2 in a row for him now. The entries, the first points in these rounds. Spear Gaming already starting to feel the heat as in comes a frag grenade, quite literally exploding in his face and bringing this down to a 5v3.
They've got to be winning those gunfights. There's Crazy Boy there. He needs to be hitting those shots. He had all the time in the world to find his man from the rotation, but ultimately gets knocked down by Marble with that LMG, just absolutely chewing through him. 5 versus 2 now, as Talon are really starting to run away with this. They are looking at sending a message to Spear here that there is absolutely no sight safe for them on the defense. Soldier from above onto Roy Boy. NL, he's stunned. He manages to get one. He's unlikely to find many more. He's 1 versus 4. He's switched to the SMG. Diffuser's going down. He has got the down onto Marble, who I presume must not have had any nano boosts left, or at least available, because he didn't pick himself up. But the final kill comes in before the diffuser can be planted, and that is also, I think, going to see a tactical timeout for Spear. And
are you surprised?
Not too much of a surprise. I think that's what was called. I could be wrong.
Yeah, TT.
Oh,
Tactical timeout, yeah. 5 kills across 3 rounds. Completely understandable. And like we always say, we're glad that a team has called this this at this stage rather than waiting a couple more rounds to then use it. You know, if things are completely going against you, you've got to put the foot on the brakes there and have the conversation, because so far, Spear Gaming have just looked like Talon's punching bag. Again, it's coming down to these 1v1s, the same as in round 2. Stepping forward, aggressing onto a shield. Okay, now I step out my way. Marble comes in, gets an aid through onto the Batman, then goes for a gunfight, wins that one as well. We get a solo vertical kill. It's kind of coordinated 1v1s that are being taken to put some pressure on the side of Spear Gaming so they can't all react in the same direction at the same time. So that's really the only aspect of the team play that's in there. The rest of it is just superior gunmanship that Talon are showing in absolute spades right now.
That's it. The best way that I can put it for Spear, you know, I don't want to be unkind, but they just haven't even been competitive in this game so far. You know, this really is Talon just coming through and absolutely sweeping them off the board at the minute. They just haven't really. There was that first round where it went down to a 1v1, but that was from a 1v3. It was Mephi who was able to manage to just grab a couple of kills out of Alt. You know, it still wasn't really a massively close round. Heading into round number 4 then, Spear will continue their defence. They are going to go back to the rotation we've seen previously. It's going to be Aviator Games, which was the site that they tried back in round 1. As I say, they did find themselves in a 1v3. The use of nades and utility has been fantastic from Talon so far today.
They found a couple in most rounds. Well, most, it's only seen 3, but I think of the 2 rounds we've seen so far, we saw a couple in those rounds. Back in round 1, Demi got one from below as well. Sure, Marble helped out by a spray through the softball there that nets him a kill, but you had a good idea as to where the guy was. Far from just lucky, had a good prediction on his head as well. Key change in this round, looking at the lineups, we are seeing a Legion coming through and we are seeing a Goyo coming through. So to me, it's just screaming that I think Spear Gaming want the kind of panic button right here. Shoot the big red Vulcan canister, get the flames down for 25 seconds, burn a bit of time off the clock and let yourselves reset. Because if you can even deny one direction where Talon are pushing in from, it means you can turn more of your efforts towards the other where you're being pushed by a couple of players from Talon.
It screams as well that they're feeling under pressure, Des. They're feeling that Talon are bringing some aggression. If you bring in Goyo, you're bringing Legion, you're talking about slowing down. You know, you're talking about denying those lanes that Talon are using at the minute to push forward and get aggressive. But it's not really going to pan out if Mephi's going to take 50 health, you know, damage from one of those Goyo canisters that's been shot out. You can't be using your own utility against you or allowing the attackers to do that.
I don't know where that came from either. I can only assume it was potentially an accident because...
Accident or maybe a nade from underneath, but I don't think
they weren't underneath. They were in art studio at the time.
No, been used anyway.
So it looks like a bit of a mistake maybe, unless it's been sprayed through from somewhere, but I can't imagine it really being exposed. You wouldn't put it in a spot where you can see it from the study balcony, for example. But either way, it's Mephi down half HP as a result.
They did a great job of clearing out main stairs. Last time did Talon. They went in with plenty of burn. The flashbangs went through, took out the ADSs. Then the Gun 6 was used to clear out the shield. And I think we're going to have more of the same. Just trying to get the Twitch drone in there as well. We're going to have quite a lot of remodeling coming out of the shotgun as he tries to find the Twitch drone of Soldier, but is as of yet unsuccessful. But here comes the burn. Out goes the second toxic canister, and Soldier has got the line, takes the kill. The rest of the utility is cleared, and main stairs, they are Talons.
Just an easy 2v1 being taken there as well, right? Where there was no real support from above. Normally you have those holes shot through inside a site, like you can see here, to contest onto the main stairs, but Talon kept themselves just ever so slightly out of sight of that vertical line and managed to get a beautiful kill onto NL, who was completely isolated. Last time, Talon lost 2 players on that push. This time round, they've lost none, and they've still got their man.
Just a little bit slow on the nade there from Talon underneath, so I think the opportunity is going to be missed. Crazy Boy and Mephi both on low health. There comes the kill marble onto Roy Boy. Crazy Boy does manage to get one back as a trade, but Soldier finds the return trade immediately. Demic goes in onto Seora. So many important kills for Demic in these rounds so far, and where have we seen this before? 1v3 Mephi in the vault. This time he's going to get a little bit more active, a little bit more mobile. He's looking for that air jab, but I'm not sure that there's one there to be seen. He's maybe got an opportunity to get on the flank, but for the time being, he's going to hold it down in sight. They've spotted him. They're using the time well here at Talon. There's absolutely no reason for them to rush, find where he is, and then send in Hedy to pick up that final kill.
That's exactly it. Talon don't panic or flood in. And I think this is something many teams in APAC North would have done last year, is go, oh, we've got the numbers, rush, rush, kill, 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 keep it chaotic. Whereas Talon kind of take the approach of no, pause, or as Jack would say, hamburger, get on the drones, figure things out, and then go. For those who want to know, that's a call that means, and Jack has told us many times, it means slow down, pause, just breathe for a second, let's reevaluate. And that's exactly what TALON did. Really good composure being shown by them. And I think there was an air jab, he just couldn't quite get the angle onto it.
Yes.
So he was stuck. You know, you either run back towards red stairs, in which case you're vacating sight, or you try and rotate across where, as we saw, Heady was holding the angle just ready. All too easy.
Heady was ready indeed and closed out the round. Yeah, it's an interesting call as the hamburger one. It's basically any. I believe I could be.
I could just imagine a whole Korean team just all going hamburger at the same time.
I'm
just
sure
being
that
like, okay.
I'm sure that Fresh will correct me if I'm wrong. It's not really down to the word. It's basically any word that doesn't belong there. It's any word that's just completely out of context, and it's because you get tunnel visioned as a player. You get so deep into what's going on. You've got comms going on around you, and calls get missed, and you can have calls coming in that aren't being reacted to. So you throw in that word, and it's just like completely jarring to your thought process. It's like, what, hamburger? What's going on? And it just brings you back to that present. It brings you back to that, right, there's something happening here. There's something going on that we need to pick up on that maybe is not being communicated. And that's where that comes from.
If I was Spear right now, I'd be screaming hamburger.
I'd be screaming hamburger. I'd be screaming, whatever word it
Throwing a
might be.
cheeseburger and a few nuggets as well. It's not looking good for them at this point. They'll be packing up and heading off some fast food very, very fast if this carries on. Demic at 9-0 has been absolutely flying in this game. I know Soldier's up there as well. The others a little bit quieter, but when your team's running them over, you haven't always got to shine to, and that's the big one. Do want to really commend Demic as well for some fantastic vertical play, whether he's played from above down into dining and kitchen on that stage, getting vertical kills, or playing from below with nades, making sure he wasn't being flanked. He's doing a lot of the work himself down there by himself, whilst the rest of the team focus on the top floor, and it has worked wonderfully so far.
Spear, the thing is for Spear, they just need to start with the basics here. They need to get themselves an entry, just win a gunfight, just get themselves some sort of advantage. Crazy Boy going to take a little bit of damage. Not the end of the world, about 25 HP down on the Malusi from that nade that came in, but Marble, he's looking to push through here. Knows that there's a camera, it gets pinged out for him, so he can avoid that. He's just going to ping it again. It's still not been managed to get the angle onto it. Those wooden beams will not be penetrated by bullets, so just being careful there. Takes it out. It doesn't light up blue, so there's a chance that no information was gained from the cam, but the fact that it's been taken out, something that Fabian picked up on in the pre-game, should tell them that somebody's pushing from there. Demic is once again those important kills. As I said, manages to find his opener, gets that first man Crazy Boy down. Seora manages to find Misa though, and that leaves us now in a 4v4.
Still looking to see what else he can do here, hanging up on that north side. It's putting a bit of pressure on towards TALON, who shouldn't be so free to come running in through the bedroom side of things. But once again, this two-man hit squad of Marble and Soldier pushing in from the south. Can't quite find that man, getting absolutely shut down by none other than Mephi. That's the kind of performance we've been waiting to see. Leaves Demic all by himself, and Tim, it looks like finally that perfect KD that he's got so far, the 10-0, is finally going to be shut down here as he's on the eyes of that pulse.
More than likely. 52 seconds left to go. He's got time. He can use a little bit of that information that maybe his team have got on drones, but there's not many of them left either. So he's going to be going on sort of bare bones at this point. And as you say, the pulse right now is just scanning him out at all times here, just giving that information constantly as to where his movement is. The thing is now, all Spear need to do is hold the stairs from the basement. They know he's in the basement. You just wait for him to move up one of the staircases. They've got enough men. It's not going to matter as he makes that challenge, but can't quite find the shots. There it is. Ultimately, Seora manages to find the kill onto Demic, and Spear get themselves the first round there. It's a start for them, but, and it's a big but, there's a long way to go against this TALON side. They've been in two different leagues so far.
Really, a lot of that came down to Mephi shutting down the push that has worked super well so far as well. I spoke about Soldier and Marble coming through as a pairing. It was it was Nook and the Finker before. It's been Ash and the Finker coming in. Those two just keep on pushing in through that one door and getting kills with nades, through the kills through the soft wall, for example. Just tearing apart the backbone of the Spear Gaming defense on this site. So I think with how that shaped up, okay, it wasn't really the site itself, but you get what I mean. Up here on this top floor, now it's going to happen all over again because we're going into Trophy and Statuary for the next site. That was indeed Dining and Kitchen. So with this one, it will likely play out pretty similarly again. So keep an eye on Soldier and Marble, and when they come for that push, and who greets them and shuts them down, because I think putting your best gunman in Mephi there to protect the back line and give you and make sure you guys have still got control of Astro, of control of Trophy itself, that is the crux of this defense, and that is where the real war takes place.
I think at this point, Spear have got to, like you say, look at it like that and say, right, Mephit, Sayora, you're the two that are winning gunfights here. You've got 9 kills between you now. You know, they're the ones that they need to put in the path. Where are we going to see the entry coming in? Where are we going to see the push coming from? Put those guys there and let them win those gunfights, because they are the only ones doing that at the minute. And they need to be the sort of teeth of the defence, really. Talon, they're going to be looking for a 5-1 half here. Round 6, they're going to be attacking top floor. It's going to be Trophy and Statuary once again. They really have attacked this very well previously, not given Spear much of a chance. And if they start finding those openers again, you feel like it could be more of the same. They did have the Pulse playing underneath previously on this defence. Royboy was down there looking to feed information, maybe play for some nitro kills. It's going to be the case again. He was taken out with a nade last time, so they just need to be careful to keep him alive more. That's likely going to be Demic's job to get in there and clean him out.
You see now everyone's pausing for a second as well. Drone work coming through. Demic coming into Laundry. Had 2 on the upstairs just to make sure their push forward worked out well. And last time in this attack, Demic wasted loads of time around Laundry, if you remember. Even found the nade kill onto Royboy as well when he was getting a bit too... I don't want to say aggressive, but he was getting very loose in terms of how he was playing. Pulse got too close to the door, caught out on the drone, and got taken down. And the rest of Talon all worked together to push up from the south side as a 4. Here we go, the jump out from Sayora. Oh no, this could not have gone much worse, but gets himself back inside. Misa's got the right idea, but can't quite get enough damage down to finish Sayora off.
Sayora very, very lucky there, and almost, I mean, he was owed it, to be fair, at the timing of that jump out. He just saw the back end of the man go across him. It was very unfortunate, but does get away with it and only loses half of his health, which could have been much worse. Marble, we've seen working in from this red stairs side previously. He's looking to do the same and apply that bit of pressure there. Soldier's got himself established inside of the short area of 90 corridor. So far so good for Talon. 2 minutes in nearly, and they've got themselves possession of red stairs. They've got possession of the south side of the map, and they can start looking to get aggressive. Toxic Babe canisters are coming out already as nades fly in to clear utility, and that should tell you the feeling on Spear right now is that they need to try and hold on, but there's a minute left to go.
Well, here we go. That Iana's going to feed a little bit of information more on the side this time rather than an Asher and Lucky. Still have the nade, still got the Gun 6, but also that Gemini that can help out too. A nade coming in below, and Royboy once again almost getting taken out by a nade quite early on the Pulse. Looking for a second one to come in here, but I don't think they're fully aware of exactly where he's sat at this point. It's Crazy Boy holding up close, and I did want to commend Mephi earlier on. Was wasting time at the top of red, backed inside of Statuary, then backed up towards the split side of things. Crazy Boy's looking for the swing here. Here he goes, got the shotgun in hand, finds the man. It's a 1 pump to the chest, down goes Demic, but elsewhere it's a kill coming back for Misa. NL holds down on site, but there comes Marble for the trade. Again, that duo doing wonders on the push through, but Marble again has broken open this backside and torn his way through. Marble's coming in for the plant now on site. Royboy Pulse on side. Can he get the C4 off in time? He's still got it in back pocket. He won't have enough time here, Tim. He's going to stick it and get away with it.
That was the problem there. The Pulse just coming in a little bit too late, and Marble can just hold on to these red stairs now. Manages to get it down. 1v1. Crazy Boy is going to be collected here. Probably a smart move there. Get your numbers back on the board. You've got time. 23 seconds left for the defenders to do something, and that Pulse scanner is going to be active underneath once again, just trying to find the position of Hedy. But Hedy on the Nomad does have full HP, so that is a little bit of an advantage. Manages to doesn't find one, and there's going to be plenty of time. I thought that the Nomad maybe just wins that out on the Astro stairs, but ultimately not. Royboy able to disable that activated diffuser, and that is going to be the second round for Spear.
So again, that big battle around trophy though, right? Only this time there were small changes in how things shaped up. I mentioned the Iana, the extra intel that it brought, the more nades they had on side as well instead of having the Ash. A good little adaptation, but that Pulse moving a lot more fluidly on the downstairs once they know they weren't under any major threat because the Bandit had got rid of the player pushing in. That just opened things up a lot more for the defensive side there, and that is where Spear had the freedom to shut down those players, get a couple of nitros through, and really bring things into their favour. A good closing round, close admittedly, because the plant did go down, but it's not going to be a horrific 5-1 or even 6-0 half for Spear. They do find themselves with 2 on the board and in with a chance of still being able to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, a 4-0, it certainly looked like it could be a 5-1, 6-0 half, but Spear have done well there. They've shown some good resilience to get back into it. I've got to say, there is an element they were pretty lucky on that last round. 2v2, Diffuser goes down because they were too slow to react to it with the Pulse, and then you're playing into an LMG looking down red stairs. One gets downed, they get a good shot onto the Finker to shut that down, but I tell you what, that could have gone very, very differently, trying to push it back into that hold from the attackers once the Diffuser was down and activated. So while Spear, yes, have 2 rounds on the board, I'd say at least one of them they've got to sort of thank the lucky stars for, and this could be difficult now they get onto the attack.
Speaking of, they've got a really wild attacking lineup here to kick things off. Seeing the Sens coming out. Some teams used that last week, not all of them, but some did give it a good go. We've got the Capital, you've got the Blitz. There's kind of... They're not really all separate. Like the Blitz really is probably the separate thing out here that's trying to do something a little bit different. And putting your best gunner in Mephi on it raises a couple of questions, but here we are. Otherwise, you're looking towards the Sens and the Capital here to make things work together. You can't run through a Sens line, for example, when that smoke is also down or fire is burning out. It's a 1-for-1 quite early on. Sayora starting things off, and down goes the smoke, Tim. Not the ideal operator to be losing this early.
No, it's a good pickup to start with, taking down Hede, but the push through to the top of main stairs with the Blitz was successful. They've got players moved out of there, and they've got that map control. That answers that question of how do we get main stairs. They can now start building forward from there, and it's been done very, very quickly. That's been the whole purpose of bringing the Blitz along, but the question is now, how much does it hurt them through the rest of the round?
Oh my God.
We see the Sense walls being deployed there, but they won't do much for the defenders. They're going to just be, sorry, for the attackers, they're just going to be getting shut down as Talon managed to play around those light screens, just really avoiding the layout of them to still find those kills, just blast through them. As you say, it doesn't shut down any bullets, doesn't prevent any attack coming through, and it is now all up to NL. Going to be picked up on the bulletproof camera. There's one inside a vault, and this is going to be a difficult push for the Sens.
That's exactly it, yeah. I think NL's a little bit stuck at this point as well. The 1 versus 3. Not really the kind of case you can come back, but to touch on what I was talking about earlier, the Capital and the combo coming in with the Sens, you saw them try and pull it off. The only issue was the fire went down in the right place, but Soldier was just standing on the edge enough that he could see the players pushing up from main stairs in towards site itself and managed to get themselves a couple of kills, supported by a C4 from Demic. So no vertical cover, didn't get the full coverage they needed to stop Soldier doing his stuff, and now they find themselves, as they do, potentially going down to a 5-2 unless NL pulls out an absolute miracle, Tim.
I think there's a couple of things going on here. Obviously, Spear will have the opportunity to be chatting amongst themselves as players as well, but with so much time on the board, NL just basically waiting to see, is anybody going to push me here? This is a 1v3. If somebody pushes and I get a cheap kill, it's a 1v2. It becomes a lot more manageable. So he gave it the time that was available to him on the board, but it didn't really pan out. Talon were far too patient for that. They understood the situation, and they waited for NL to be pushing in. 5-2 it is as Talon pick up their first defense, and that was my concern for Spear here. I like what they've tried something different. They've used the Blitz to get control over top main very quickly. It was well done. It got them that little foothold that they needed, but then the push into site, we had the Sens light screens going out, and still the defenders found the kills one after another. They didn't screen off bar enough, I don't think. There was still the defender there that was able to play around, see them pushing in.
That's why they tried the firebolt,
That was
right?
the problem. And whilst the idea was there, the execution just didn't quite live up to it.
That's exactly it. And I'm always a proponent of saying just because an idea didn't work, it doesn't mean it's not a good idea. Just in that particular instance, there was something they didn't consider or something fell by the wayside. Mistakes happen.
And a team that never made a mistake, never made anything.
Exactly, Tim, exactly. Into round 8 we go then. Let's see how things shape up. Spear really got to get this round on the board, otherwise you're staring down the barrel of a 6-2 mountain to climb, and that is one that many teams struggle to bounce back. We have had a couple of 6-3 recoveries over in EUL on Monday, Tim, but it's not really something you should expect to be the norm, especially from a 6-2 deficit. Demic's still looking like absolute fire, 11-2. Has slowed down in the last couple of rounds, but you'll forgive him when he's basically dragged you through a first half in style.
Ooh, we're being met at the line of entry here now. Talon starting to get a little bit more aggressive on this defence. Marble on the Jaeger out on their own, getting right up to those windows, preventing that push from the Iana coming into potentially the bottom of Astro Stairs is where he would have been looking to head to. Crazy Boy is going to go route 1 in towards Master. We can see a couple more of Spear Gaming just joining in there as well. Sayora is on the role that Demic was fulfilling previously. Demic was playing this with the sledge. Sayora's going to be bringing the knock instead. Demic was there to clear out the pulse that was playing underneath. That's not the case for the defenders this time around. It's Marble who's roaming around downstairs, and that's going to be a job for Sayora to try and close down.
It's kind of a sign of the times, in my opinion, in the way that I look at this, in the sense of with attacker repick being in, you know attackers are coming in with the most optimal lineup for an execute, and you as the defenders want to get out in the map and slow down the attackers as much as you can. Force them to go through drones, through utility, so when they do come to the execute, they're only running at 50-70% of their power, unless of course you're finding kills, in which case even better. The only worry is if you overextend and stay out for too long, you can get yourself picked up. Once again, Heady on the smoke has gone down early in the round, so some mispositionings there to look at, I think, or find a better way to protect that smoke and put in more on your back line.
Yeah, need to be keeping hold of that utility. Thrown away 2 rounds in a row now. Marble absolutely no idea that Seora was down there with him in kitchen, but Seora misses his shots and Marble is able to wriggle away, and that creates a pretty problem for Spear as Soldier manages to find Mephi and level things out 4v4, and they know they've got somebody on the flank there. They know they've got somebody downstairs that hasn't been dealt with. Seora's going to actually largely ignore the Jaeger and try that push up Astro stairs. Shot out the Wamai Magnet, which is going to tell Soldier somebody must be pushing from those Astro stairs, because that's the only side you're going to get an angle onto that place from.
I mean, there's 3 of them all trying to push in here, so a great job being done by Soldier and the rest of the team to hold them up at least for now. That clock runs down, you'll start to panic. Demet with a great shot onto Seora as well. Can they find the Hibana here as they step around the corner? They've got this wonderful little crossfire going from behind the table and here through the rotate. There's been, well, not really a rotate, more footholds that have been opened up. So it's a good setup, and Spear, I think, have identified that they might get stuck. Misa going down elsewhere, brings it into a 3v3, 30 seconds left.
They don't know where Soldier is. That's the big play. Up he goes, and as easy as that, they had no idea Soldier was in behind the desk. You could see that they'd been playing onto the rotate more than anything. NL going to take some damage as he tries to challenge onto Soldier, who takes very, very little, if any, out of that. NL has now managed to get his way into sight, though. There's the potential for the diffuser to go down here. Unlikely, as Soldier takes down Crazy Boy with a beautiful long shot from Astro, and it's all up to NL to start fighting. 3 seconds left to go, and somehow Soldier manages to pick up that final kill with a knife. He runs in. I'm not sure if it's a little bit of a panic knife there. Definitely. As he comes round and NL's in my face, and you just react.
We've all been there, Tim.
We've all been there.
When you run around a corner, run through a door, and someone just appears, yeah, you panic a little bit. It happens. It absolutely does. Big 4K coming out for Soldier in the round, though, to move Talon up to match point. 6-2. They said, I said if it got to this scoreline, it would be far too steep a hill to climb, and I'll stand by that. Dining in the kitchen might not go the way that Talon want, but going forwards into round 10, 11, and 12, that is when things really heat up for the side of Spear, who, let's not forget, who used their timeout after round 3. They've got no more extra lives here, sadly, Mario. It's do or die. Otherwise, you drop those 3 points, and Talon walk away with all 3 and jump into first place, Tim, as you can see in that indicator in the top right corner of your screen.
Yeah, you know, I want to apply a little bit of caution to Talon here. I don't want to get carried away and be like, oh, wow, they're going fantastically well, top of the table, you know. But they're looking pretty good. What I will say is, you know, Spear, yes, have made mistakes, and that's why I don't want to go in sort of too heavily on this Talon performance. But what I will say is, and I've said this time and time again, and I will do in the future as well, you can only beat the team that's in front of you. And Talon are doing a great job of that right now. You know, so I'm not going to take away from their performance because maybe Spear haven't been quite up to scratch. You know, Talon have been very professional about it. They've gone in, they've got the kills, they've won the gunfights, and that's what's kept Spear on the back foot as well. So, you know, this is a decent performance from Talon, and I'm looking forward to seeing them against better opposition as well.
That's exactly it for me, right? Last week they looked great against Fav. This week they've looked great so far against Spear, but they are 2 of our, you know, arguably our bottom 4 teams that we have in the competition. If you want to be pushing for one of those top 2 spots, you've got to get past some big teams. Sandbox, Down 1 Kia, big name, even CAG that you've got to step your way through as well. You know, it's not an easy gig. So it's a good idea to get warmed up this early in the season, but the real test is still yet to come. But we can be very encouraged by what we have seen so far. Spear Gaming, not 100% out of this yet, though. Now starting to work their way through in towards Master and step their way forwards. They want that vertical control, and almost like doing back all the damage that Demic received from Royboy on the Pulse in the first half. Now it's Demic playing on the Pulse, and no doubt it's going to be calling out and chucking that C4 skyward in no time.
Spear just having a look around, see what's going on the drones, taking the opportunity after a minute or so. There is still one player, I believe, up on the top floor for Talon, so they do need to be aware of that player. They haven't quite got control yet, and it is Soldier, and he did manage to hide himself away behind the Astro desk last time. This time he's got himself in statuary, and again could hold that verticality if Spear don't go in and clear it out. For now, they've got 2 teams working. They've got one upstairs looking to get control, and the second is softening upside and just looking to get those angles in from Pantry.
I mean, surely Demic has spotted out these 3 players on the cardiac sensor at this point and must be calling in, hey, this is where the focus is coming from. This is where the push is going to happen. Marble elsewhere finding Mephi again, a big kill against a man that put up some big numbers last week. And Hedy, again, Tim, is being taken out really early in these rounds. The difficulty there being he had one of the team's 2 C4s in back pocket. Even when Demic has used his, you can still coordinate and use mutes, but they're going to lose that now.
NL's actually managing to get the diffuser down here. We've got the Candela charges going out, which is definitely going to support that. No challenge comes in, the Nitro misses, and that is going to be diffuser planted in a 4v4. This is not going to be an easy retake for Talon here. They managed to find Royboy and down him. NL goes as well, so that now leaves us 4v2. There's actually quickly a real opportunity for Talon to potentially jump on this diffuser, and that's exactly what Demic is going to do. He's being held safely here. They've got to move up, but they've got the cover onto the stairs. Easy as that. That was a textbook retake from Talon. Really nice in the 4v4.
It was, and there wasn't really enough control from the side of Spear there to make that attack work. The only thing they really relied on was the Sense Light Wall, and we've seen a couple of teams do this where you don't clear out certain angles or certain areas. You pretend they don't exist. You put them behind the light wall. You go, hey, it's not a problem anymore. The problem is, it is. They will still run through the wall. They wait for it to come down and then come and push you. They had limited control upstairs. They only really had the one angle being watched. NL was a dead man walking when he was laid down behind the table as well. Just not enough control established and too much reliance on the Sense.
33 kills across the top 3 players for Talon, and I bring that up because that just shows this is not one player, this is not two, you know, this is a team that is functioning very, very well together. And, you know, as I said, for me, I am really looking forward to them going up against Sandbox, against Damwon, against CAG. I want to see what this Talon team can do now.
Get them against some big names, because I know many looked at this stage and said, look, CAG, Damwon, Sandbox, they're the 3 that are going to be fighting for those 2 spots at the major. Talon could well be a new challenger in that race. Let's go to a quick break. When we come back, our desk will break it down for you.